We have Valmonica for you today. This is a very refreshing change of pace. We also have Cyber Dragons and Springans. I'm really digging this new format. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Wow. We actually have Valmonica, and this is not a drill. I did not expect to see anybody stepping into the arena out here trying to play the new stuff just yet. You know, we do have more new cards coming down here in the future, which I'll be honest with you, it's going to actually kind of change the way this deck does its thing. Keep in mind, I mean, this whole current gimmick relies on the resonance counters to set up, but they did get the Sultrice Valmonica, which actually kind of changes what this deck actually wants to do, and it's turboing out the basic level 4s for you to be able to do your thing. Your hand trap ratios are kind of interesting. The 2 Ash and 2 Droll and Lockbirds, I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. We also have the triple failure. We're also doing 2 Nibiru in here as well. Basically, you're relying on the stun aspect of things to kind of allow you the chance to kind of control your opponent's field and kind of set up. We're also playing 2 Tactiles. This duelist really loved the 2 ofs to be able to see what you could do in here. Now your side deck down here, I mean, you have 1 Change of Heart. You also have 2 copies of Dimensional Fissure. Yes, the standard Floodgates. And we also have the Grave of the Super Ancient Organism in here as well. We've definitely seen enough of how the meta has shaped up that Organism just kind of is able to steal some free games away from your opponents, especially when those bigger monsters are being involved out here. This card does some pretty good things. Also keep in mind these pesky Link 1 monsters that all revolve around, basically you have to have 3 resonance counters in order to bring this out. Still not a huge fan of the way that this method of summoning works, but we're still focusing on being able to bring those out. I'll see we're playing an Abyssal in here as well, because we do have the Sultrice Valmonica being, well, everything's effectively level 4 in here. So you'll be able to have access to those power lines, kind of help you out with a thing. And of course, the immediate access to the Spellcaster. Alright, cool stuff. Next up, this is a pile deck. I'm going to be straight up honest with you, but this is going to involve the Springans cards and the ability for the Springans cards to kind of start to travel up those machine paths, because keep in mind, being able to make the Merrymaker go on into the Champion Sargass getting the ability to go down these extra combo lines. The biggest thing here is Crystal Beast Pegasus is a 1-card starter. You heard me say that correctly. We've reached the point that this deck can actually use Sapphire Pegasus as a jumping point for this deck to be able to do things. And one other note down here, the duelists did say they didn't have an SP Little Knight. They said that they would cut the Emerald for the SP Little Knight to be able to put it back in. So I do want to point that out. Somebody's going to be like, oh, did you need the SP? It is a card that helps out a lot of the combo lines for this deck, but for the most part, yes, you have Emerald in the placeholder for this. Now you are going to find here, you are playing a Rise Heart here. I mean, locking yourself into Xyz monsters isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. You have plenty of things you'll be able to jump into, and especially, being able to get to the Banshee, to get into the Flag, to get into the Nemesis corridor. This is actually incredibly scary now that you actually have the Banshee, which kind of toggles down this entire line of things to actually turbo on into a Colossus. And you're kind of starting to actually find, while Colossus can be a very scary card for a lot of these decks, its value that it kind of sets up just kind of feels maybe subpar at some points. I can't believe I'm saying that. A walking, talking Floodgate monster being subpar. Yeah, that's not the Yugioh that I thought I would see out here. But you have a lot of 1-card starter packages with this deck. If you're looking to play this, I'll have a link down below so you guys can check out some of the combo lines and have an idea of what you can do if you want to try out the Springans piles. Wow, Cyber Dragons. Okay, now this is actually really cool. So once again, we have Carnot showing up out here, being one of these cards that, I swear, every one of these Cyber Dragon players has been clutching on to Carnot for the value it is. I mean, it's a free special summon. It goes up to like 4k attack points, and it allows you the chance to kind of push through game and make sure that you can put that bigger pressure on your opponent. And, maybe sometimes you have some, I think the one reason why I like this deck so much is because there are so many cool things that Duality just allows you the chance to do in the course of the game. So just having this card be as good as it is really cool. And also, Clockwork Knight is kind of some ignorant Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, any Cyber Dragon being able to go second, you activate the Clockwork Knight, your opponent stares at it and goes, okay, and you get a free contact fusion out on the Fortress Dragon, chomping up everything that your opponent had. I think it's one of the craziest things that Cyber Dragons actually has going for it right now in its metagame, is just one copy of this plus any Cyber Dragon name is just GG to your opponent's field. I also see here, we are playing one copy of the Sunrise Signaler. I don't really see this card come up all that much. It is something that we have seen before, but in the more recent Cyber Dragon builds, they just haven't really dedicated a slot to this. Nothing wrong with it, just something kind of interesting to see now. We do have the Inspector border showing up. Gotta love the walking, talking Floodgate. And now the Cybernetic Overflow has been pushed down into the side deck. As much as, you know, we've loved Overflow and the things it's done over the years, the meta has shifted in such a direction that you can't really justify playing this in the main anymore. Actually, I think it's very rare to actually see this in the side now. Most builds have just agreed to cut this. And trust me, Overflow is one of those cards that can steal you a game if you really need to be playing it. Gotta love deck building 101 in this current format. Oh, we have more Melodious for you. Now, I will tell you, a lot of these Melodious builds are going to be pretty straightforward. You don't have a lot of craziness that you have to hammer around. It is just going to be straightforward and you're good to go. And this card right here, I think, is honestly the heart and soul of the deck. That's really crazy to say, because basically what ends up happening here is you're going to use the Bloom to start doing the warp outs. You're going to use the Maestra here to be able to control the opponent's graveyards, because always remember, it's once while this card's face up in the field, and if you're going to you can reset it back to the field with this. So basically you're slamming down possibly, you know, 6 removals. So you got 2 of these up and running, which I have seen before. You're popping 6, 9, 12 cards out of your opponent's graveyard. This actually is a pretty cool Tenpai control card if need be. Of course, the Bloom Diva. This card actually coming out is a very scary thing. The fact it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage from battle attacks involving this card, yeah, it's actually pretty nuts. And it has a built-in Catastrophe effect. Yeah, it's just what you want to be seeing in here. The build is also playing the Polymerization instead of the Fusion sub. I've seen the argument for the Fusion sub. My major concerns still remain, though. There are just some hands that you look at with this deck and you're like, wow, I need to be able to fuse from the hand. Fusion sub doesn't let you do that. And unfortunately, that's why you play the hard polymerization with the Tam Tam here to get the value. Also, being able to ping your opponent for some damage off of this is actually pretty good. Yeah, did you know Melodious had the ability to ping for damage? You know, time, the terrible rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! That are very unfun. Yeah, Tam Tam gives you that ability to do so. Outside of that, I mean, your control options in this side deck are pretty standard. I'm happy to see DD Crow actually being a card, seeing some sort of play down here. Outside of that, though, there's not a lot of stuff you have to do. Hello, Underworld Goddess. Yeah, this deck actually has to play Underworld Goddess to add some of those more troublesome, pesky cards. And we have a Kashtira deck, but we're playing Diabellstar and Diabells in here. Why are we playing Diabells in this? Is it just because, you know, a Sinful Spoils mirror match kind of comes up? We're in that situation that we're like, oh, hey, this is a card that we kind of need to do the thing. We are also playing a Subversion Snake Eyes in here, and we're also playing Silvera in here as well. Honestly, I think the main reason why we'd want to be doing any of this is just strictly because of Silvera being able to negate any of these little troublesome cards that you might have. We've seen Silvera as a card. This thing is actually excellent for what it is. But I feel like trying to play something like this, you know, with the Wanted package into this, I mean, sure, there are additional level 7s that you can toggle off the field with. You do have some in-house synergy with that, but I just feel like this is just trying to make the deck, I don't know, a little bit more inferior. Who really knows, though? It did have success. I can't really take that away from it. Also, hello, Shifter. How are you? This build also having Ogres down here on the side. You do have the Anti-Scam. The fact this card has just moved on in to so many decks and is just staying around as a one-up is exactly what you want to see. And, hi. I see we are doing the Heat Soul play off of the Draco Sack. Wait, no. There's no Earth Golem Ignister down here. Huh. Okay. Well, I suppose they tried out some interesting little things. Well, that's our chunk of decks for you today. I know there's a lot of interesting things that are going on in the meta. I really do like what I'm seeing, especially, you know, if you got Springans, Cyber Dragons, and Valmonica, of all things, finding success out here. I think that's kind of good. You guys have a good rest of your day and stay safe out there. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.